Survivor's Guide to True Crime includes discussions of sexually based violence and is not intended for children. Information provided should not be used as a substitute for professional medical or legal advice. Please exercise discretion and self-care. Welcome to Survivor's Guide to True Crime. I'm Kim.
And I'm Kara.
Welcome back. It's been a hot minute since we've been on.
Surprise, we're here.
We wanted to give you all a little holiday treat and just let you know we're still here, chugging along.
Chugging and, really just some days just surviving.
Yeah.
Because we're survivors.
Puns intended. Mm-hmm. For those of you who are just catching up, Kara's still growing a human.
Yeah, she's in there. She's growing. Feels so large. And this is the first time that I will be recording in my new house, as opposed to the RV, which means I am currently, for those of you who are not viewing the video version, sitting on the floor in my closet. So before this started, I was like, Kim, we got to do this quick because I'm sitting on the ground and I am in pain. So, it's fun times. I don't really have a good spot. My office is not soundproof. It is right by the front door. It does not have a door. It's the dining room, so wide open to all of the elements and the children and all the things. So the closet is.
One day it'll happen. Have you seen those soundproof panels? They look like canvas, kind of. And I think this would be really helpful in like apartment living or even dorms and such. But they look like canvases, but they are for acoustics. And I'm like, yeah. Of course, there's one that looks like Twilight. I'm like, oh, that sounds fun. I could do that. It's fine.
Now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I have one little corner of my office that's not super duper used. I'm like, I should just put a sound booth there. Just put a little sound booth.
Yeah, just drop it in there.
Like so easy.
I have an image of The Sims in my head where you just like,
right,
this place here.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I can't get, anyone around here to do anything with any timely fashion. So I'm like, yeah, let me just add something else to the list.
Absolutely. I don't know why that's even a problem. So.
Sounds reasonable.
Hey, fun fact, not a baby, but I finally published my merch that I've been working on for a while.
You did it.
Yay. And I did so much research on trademarks and copyrights and all kinds of things. I feel like the times that I text you, I'm like, this is going down a deep, deep rabbit hole. I'm like, should I just start trademarking things?
And I'm
just
like
a long ass text, and you're like, I don't understand any of this.
I know nothing of this. I don't know.
I had to look a lot into it because in my era, so I have a line that's in my Survivor era. And I wanted it to be applicable not just to like sex assault survivors or crime victim survivors, but whatever, it resonates with. But I also wanted to make sure that we don't infringe upon our Lord and Savior, Taylor Swift.
Sweet Jesus.
But in looking at that stuff, there's like somebody random that submitted them for in my mom era, in my auntie era, in my teacher. It's bizarre. So I'm like, at what point does the in my era become trademarked? So I'm writing that one out. I'm pretty small potatoes in comparison. But as of right now, there's no infringement and you can get yours at KimberlyCorbin.com.
In the merch news, I did make some new stickers for the podcast, which I should probably put some of those on like something else, like a mug or something, right?
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, I should do that. So we do have some new stickers and those are on my website and they're filtered. That's where all the SGTC things live because that was easier at the time than putting it on our SGTC website because I already had a shop. So those are there for the Patreon. We are working on some dark humor merch that will be your premium subscriber level next, merch thing that you get. And yeah, I have some other, another kind of fun collaboration coming.
I'm so excited for that
next month, I think. And there will be like a little exclusive special surprise there specifically for our listeners and for our Patreon too. So stay tuned for that. I will definitely announce it on my social. And, even if I am birthing a baby, you guys know I'll be on social because how else does one avoid one's emotions and dissociate.
I've been looking at it, I'm like, I have not been on, I didn't have a story on there for like 3 days. And then, okay, so I realized this, and it actually does tie to, it's not a total squirrel moment. So we have been doing a ton of stuff for the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since I stopped putting my kids on my social feed, I'm like, what do I put
What
up?
do I post about?
I know, like, I love sharing them and what we're doing. Like, there's a hilarious video that I will send you. Hilarious. On Sunday, we had Christmas with my side of the family, and my mom made a game where you had to do Pictionary, but for Christmas songs, and whoever guessed it gets to pick out their gift next, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just a game for the kids; the adults get to play too. And it was my turn, and I drew Jingle Bell Rock. To put this in perspective, my brother had gone and he drew 12 Days of Christmas, and he wrote 1, 2, like easy. There was Silent Night, and it was just like a moon. So like very rudimentary.
Mm-hmm.
What do I start drawing? A full on girl with like a little ponytail and a short skirt and boots. And I'm getting there. I get through the first one. I was like, is that JoJo Siwa? Like, what are you doing? And I start drawing the second one. And my son, who is 10, goes, Jingle Bell Rock! I'm like, yes, it's Mean Girls.
Yeah.
And then they both, the littles pop up and start doing the jingle bell, jingle.
I love it so much.
It was so great. I'm like, I can't put that online. I put it like on my family one, but like that's the kind of stuff that I am doing right now that I'm just not sharing publicly. But just know that it was really hilarious.
I've seen people successfully share things with their kids where they just don't share their faces sometimes. Mm-hmm. But my kids are super opinionated. Like they'll be like, "Why are you filming? Don't post that online." I'm like, okay. So I have to, respect that. Sometimes they're okay with it, but most of the time they are not. I have something that even though we've been talking, I didn't tell you. Guess what we watched yesterday?
Is it a Christmas movie?
No.
Is this
but it's a movie you love.
Is it in Burrs New Grove?
No, it's we watched Barbie. The whole family. Yeah.
Finally! Yay!
Yeah.
What did you think? Everybody else apart, like
no, everyone loved it. We all loved it. So everyone was kind of bebopping around doing their own thing. And if you guys, I think we've talked about it before. I crochet solely in the winter. So I was like, I want something that I can just put on while I'm crocheting, because that's like, I can't just sit and crochet. I can't just sit and watch a movie, but I can crochet and watch a movie. So I was like, what can I put on in the background while there's nobody else around that I can't watch when everyone else is around because they wouldn't want to or whatever. And so I was like, well, obviously Barbie is the choice. Like that's the obvious selection. And then everyone appears and they're like, oh, well, maybe we would like to watch this. It's so cleverly done. So the boys were like,
6 months later.
I know.
It's fine.
Well, the boys were like, picking up on all these little funny moments of how goofy, even when she's like pouring her water or like she's drinking her milk and, like nothing comes out, like all these silly little things that the boys were picking up on that they thought was just hysterical. And then at the end, my husband was like, I'm glad we watched that. Like I never would have picked it on my own. He was like, but it was such a like feel good, like has a good message. And I was like, yeah, I know. It's like people raved about it. So I was super impressed. I loved it. I thought it was very cleverly done, and add me to the Barbie fan club.
Yeah. And it's like a visual snack. Like everything in it is so well thought out. You can tell that there are people who just like, this is my one and only job, and I have to make sure this thing is right.
Oh my God, everything. Like, I think one of my favorite things is when they pan across when all the Kens take over the Barbie dream houses, and like every single TV is like synchronized horses running. What is happening? And then like the little tidbit when Ken's like, at first I thought that horses ruled the world, but then I realized it was men, and horses are just man extenders. And I was like, man extenders. I was like, I love this. So
I find myself all the time going, it's so small, but bolígrafo.
What is that? Where is that?
She wants to her husband. She's like, whoa, what about dad? She's like, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
You're doing Spanish.
I know. That's like the only
Yeah. He just sits there happy with himself.
Yeah.
And it says that is her actual husband too.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's
courtesy
funny.
of IMDb sort of things. Yesterday I was shopping for Christmas because of course I was I think Marshall's or something, and back in the bowels of the clearance section there is a hot pink box, which of course my eyes go directly to.
Obviously.
It's the 50th anniversary collaboration. I forget who the other company is, but it's Barbie. And they're those gold wine glasses like you see Ken angrily drinking out of it. And I was like
Love is Blind.
I need this. I need this so much. Also, I can't buy gifts for myself. Have you seen that meme that's like the stages of Christmas shopping? I have plenty of time shopping for myself. Oh, no.
Yeah, that's basically all I've done. Buy things for myself. My bad.
So easy. I'm like, oh, let's just stick it on there. It's fine. Mike and I share a note in Apple that kind of keeps track of everything, like what is from us and what is from Santa. That's a whole other conversation that we could probably have. I think this I think this is our last Santa believing year, and then it changes to
it
changes.
Except we're having a baby. So it's not.
Hey, just kidding. Start over. I hope you don't have an elf. Watch your dreams.
Hell no. Our kids at one point in the last week or so, they're like, I wish we had an elf. And I'm like, no. Our neighbor has Snoop on a stoop.
Yes, I gave that to my friend Abby. Snoop on a stoop because she loves Snoop Dogg.
He has like a doobie in his mouth.
I know.
Doobie. And I'm like, how do the kids process that?
Oh, she uses it for the kids.
Yeah, she uses it for the kids. Yeah. No, like we went to her house last night to build gingerbread houses. And they were like, look at what our elf is doing. And she opened the fridge and I was like, that is Snoop. He's like eating cookie dough in their refrigerator with a doobie in his mouth.
He's got munchies.
And a bottle of Hennessy. It's so ridiculous.
Like, did you see him troll literally everyone by saying that he was going smokeless and then it's a solo? I'm like, God, genius. Come on.
Yeah,
Snoop.
they must have paid him money for that.
So much. Oh my God, I love it.
But
so much.
I was like, absolutely no elves are going to be here. I cannot.
It's awful. And like 'tis the season to forget to move the effing elves until it's the morning of. Speaking of spending money, because of course it's all we do right now. What about earning money? Because we outlined a couple quick topics.
Yeah.
Let's diversify our income.
Okay. So
Kara's inbox.
I'm pretty sure it was like episode 1 or 2 where we were talking about feet pics, right?
Probably.
It was pretty early on. And we were talking about at what point do we just suck it up and how do we feel about the morality of feet pics? So I have been putting content back on TikTok again. I stopped for a while because it was just exhausting. Yeah. But I turned off my inbox in TikTok because I really can only handle one platform at a time, and TikTok ain't it when it comes to messages. So I turned it back on, not even on. It was just like, accept message requests from everyone. It kept, every time I would go to TikTok, it was like, do you want to accept? You have so many requests. Would you like to accept? I was like, mother of God, I have to know what these requests are. So I go in and open it today, and I'm not kidding, I probably have about 8 messages that are like sugar daddy and or feet pic requests. And so I immediately, I woke up and I saw them. It says 7 o'clock in the morning, and I sent them to my husband, and he was like, I mean, it's pretty good money. I'll be a sugar daddy.
I sent that to Mike too. I was like, oh, look, another request for feet pics. And he's like, do it. I was like, no, I'm sending yours.
Yeah, I know. I was like, at what point do we say, yeah, maybe?
I mean, I just got one too, because I went in and looked as you're talking about this. Here's from Big Pop 7694. They all sound the same. And here's the script, if you would. Go for it.
Okay, let me give you the generic script. Mm-hmm. Hello, dear. How would you like to have a sugar daddy that's willing to pay you $5,000 weekly? would love it. This sounds great.
Right.
So they're all something to that aspect. One of them says, another one says, I would love you to be my sugar baby. I will take care of your needs, rent, and also pay you $7,000 weekly. My husband's like, that's really good money. I don't know. Like, how do I morally feel about this? Because if they don't want me to like, and a couple of them were like, I don't want sexy talk or anything like that. I'm like, right, yeah. And Joe said, is this legitimate? And I was like, I don't know. I will sporadically come across videos on TikTok or whatever that are, oh my God, being pregnant.
Breathe. Baby in the lungs.
Anytime I talk for more than like 5 seconds, I can't breathe. My kids are like, read me a book. I'm like, I can't breathe.
No.
I will sporadically come across videos on TikTok, though, of women who are doing this and they talk about it and they like share their financials. And they were like, I literally just talked to these guys. Like, they don't want photos. They don't want me to do like phone sex or anything like that. They just want me to talk to them. And I'm like, I can do that.
No, I don't even like to talk to people I like. No.
But I mean, AI could probably do it for me, right?
Well, that's what I was wondering. So as I get all these messages, they follow that same sort of script. Hello, dear. Hello, pretty. And they sound pretty much the same. Like, it's not one dude that's like, oh, I'm lonely. I think I'll just randomly slide in the DMs. Like, these feel like phishing scams to me, as opposed to the websites where like you literally meet up and that's what you do. It's that kind of contractual agreement, which, by the way, sis, if that's what somebody's going to pay you for, get your bag. Go for it. There shouldn't be no shame associated with it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Maybe I am lost in the sauce here, but how would this be phishing?
I am wondering, because they sound alike, if it's something where, well, I'll transfer the money, give me your bank account kind of. I need this to
like
be
the
able
new
to
Nigerian prince.
Yes. Except you are the princess. Haha.
Yeah.
Here's what we were talking about this morning. We want to start, like Kara wrote, and she's like, at what point do we just respond and start trolling them? I was like, right now. We start now.
Yeah. I mean, because I've had these before where I have engaged them, where I had the mental capacity to, not this, but it was some other scam thing where I was full on engaging. But I'm like, at what point do I engage with them? Because it could be epic.
I mean, my idea is to go through, and I could just like take screenshots of it and it can be for funsies. We can vote on what we should say, but I said to you, let's treat it like a job interview. Like, is there a signing bonus? Do I need to relocate? Like, what is the payment schedule? Do I have coworkers? What state's laws are we going by? Like, is there a
W-2 or am I 1099 or W-2?
How does this work? Are you going to provide this as taxable income? Like,
do I get insurance?
I know.
Are there benefits?
I really need dental. I got kids that need braces pretty badly. They are my children, after all. Right. Can you tell us what your benefits package is without the actual package part? Thank you very much.
Is there an onboarding process? It's like a whole byline there.
And you could probably just have AI generate, like, what questions should I ask in an interview?
Oh my God. Yeah.
It'd probably just be two bots talking to each other. And this is typically what entertainment is in 2023.
I know. But yeah, so stand by. I will let you guys know. I will definitely put it on the Patreon. If I decide to do that, I will have receipts. Do not worry. Speaking of the Patreon, Kim, did you know that, remember when we first started it, we had a call with Patreon and they told us that they were working on the chat feature. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It's up. So I'm wondering if we should do that.
Oh, yes, we should.
Yeah. So we haven't talked about this, obviously. It's a spontaneous revelation of things that I've been, I have all these ideas that are spinning around in the back of my head at any time and they just get lost.
And they also fall out.
Yeah, it's because
it's like revolving. We'll see them.
It's like a sink full of dishes and you're just like, I don't know what's at the bottom. You got to like pull stuff out.
Quite literally. It'll all come out soon. Yay for you.
I have a birth class today and it's a virtual birth class because of course I get advertised to all kinds of birth stuff all the time now. And it was like a video that popped up on my Instagram. It was like about not pain-free birth, but how to make birth less painful. Like there's tips and tricks. Like one of the things that I saw is you can get a comb and squeeze a comb in your hand. And so like that pressure of the tines of the comb.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like, let me punch you in the arm and your foot will stop hurting kind of thing. That's kind of what I picture it as. So it's like little techniques and tricks like that to help make birth virtually pain-free. So I'm excited to see what that's about, but I have that today.
Meanwhile, I just was like, give me the epidural.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's like the video that I saw, the woman said that like her first 3 children she had naturally and they were super painful. And with her 4th, she was like, I don't want to do this again. And just give me the epidural. And then she ended up choosing a midwife because of insurance concerns, which was the initial reason we did. And her midwife was very educated in these kind of things. And so she had a virtually pain-free birth and she was shocked. And so I was like, yeah, I would like to learn those tips and tricks too. That sounds great.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
The other thing that I sent to you to talk about is language. And I say this specifically because yesterday we were shopping. I have recently taught the kids, the littles, the word overstimulated because there are many times where I can tell that there's just so much going on and they're like close to a meltdown or I am, and they didn't have a word for it. And so when I was in a quiet place and it was, I think in our car and they're in a spot where they can listen, I taught them the word overstimulated, that feeling where it's just everything all at once. And I think I may have made a mistake because now, like, if I want to leave, I'm just going to say I'm overstimulated. I'm like, are you overstimulated? Or is this one of these other things on our feelings color wheel? But yesterday, my son said it to me as we were standing in a god-awful line that I just wish, I wish shipping was a little bit quicker for these last minute things. And he's like, I'm overstimulated. I was like, dude, me too. Let's sit down. We sat down on the cold tile of this floor at Marshall's. And I'm like, I don't care what anyone else thinks of me right now. This is how we're regulating. And it worked. We just sat there until the line moved and we're like, all right, let's look at what's on the bottom of these racks because there's a million different things. And it actually passed the time a lot better. I'm like, what if we got to go shopping or be in public and just act like
sit down?
Yeah, I'm tired. I'm going to sit down. What if we just did that more often? Because it was glorious. Highly suggest.
Dude, I feel like 2 thoughts. I'm going to make sure I hit both of them. I feel like so much of my day-to-day life is me unmasking and me saying, I don't give a flying you know what if my behavior makes you think I'm weird or it makes you uncomfortable when it makes me comfortable. Like so much of what I do, like, I don't want to do that. It doesn't feel good to my body. So I'm not going to do that to make someone else more comfortable. So I feel like that fits into this part of the conversation. And I think it's so amazing to model that for our kids. And I think it's so helpful for so many other people who may not even know that that's what they need. Right? Like how many people don't even know what it feels like to be overstimulated because they've just shut everything off or
they think that's normal.
Right. Exactly. And then the second thing that I wanted to hit about this is this like generation. I feel like so many people in our generation, their children have so much emotional intelligence. And I love it. I love seeing it. I feel like I've begun to see it a lot, especially with my 10-year-old. And so I feel like you're probably kind of hitting this same thing where he says stuff and he does stuff where I just look at him and go, holy crap. Like you have more emotional intelligence than most adults that I know. Like a couple days ago, he was building Legos and whatever he was building was just falling apart every single time. And at the same time, I came into his room and I was trying to tell him what I needed him to do for the day. And he just looked at me and he goes, Mommy, I'm really irritated right now. It's not with you. So I don't want to respond and be mean to you. I just need a minute. And I was like,
oh my God.
All right, man. I was like, I'll talk to you later.
All the time you want. Wow.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit, you are emotionally intelligent, maybe more than me, which he's extremely emotional in general. And so I think it's maybe easier for him to tap into that. But
to have that language, like he has the language to say how he's feeling. It's not bad that he's emotional or that he's feeling those emotions.
Right.
He was able to correctly communicate them.
Yeah. I mean, could you imagine if like adults functioned like that, how much healthier our society would be?
Can you imagine if like elected officials functioned?
I mean, beyond that, like, oh my gosh. I had a conversation with my best guy friend from high school recently, and he was talking about how most of his bosses in his professional career have been women. And he said, I've realized they're actually a lot better at what they do. I'm actually going to find the message and read it. It was just so funny because he's not this kind of guy. Let me scroll up. We were talking about me having a girl, and he was like, I think baby girls are kind of cooler, and girls and women in general are better than dudes. And he said, most of my professional career I've had female bosses, and I love it. And this is the part that I was like, this is awesome. Masculinity is cool. I'm a bro, but toxic masculinity is not cool. And it happens too often in corporate America. So I feel like women can actually have compassion and try to think with rationale. And if a woman has made it to that position, she's probably overcome a lot more bullshit than my spoiled white male self has. And I was like,
dang,
look at you. I know. I was like,
on the self-awareness.
I know.
You're evolving.
I know, exactly. And he's like my friend that very much has had like Neanderthal tendencies, where I was like, let's rock with you. For that to come from him, I was like, wow. I said, women tend to have a lot more emotional intelligence too. So they're not just going to get threatened because you're better at something than they are and treat you like crap in general in like a corporate setting, which is something that's very common, right? If someone's threatened by you. So I don't know. I just think that kind of stuff's exciting. And that's why we like to have these conversations, because it really helps people to have these realizations. And it is how we change the world in like these little nuanced ways. Like, yes, we want to change people being survivors and encourage them and inspire them. But the more people are able to be authentic in their journeys, and the more that they're able to have these real conversations, the more people heal. And I just think it's really cool that it's happening.
Well, and even to take it a step farther, when we have conversations that come from a place of that emotional intelligence, we also make it a safer community for when those people that have either endured or are enduring some kind of trauma come forward and they need that outcry. We have an agreed upon language and a safe place for them to disclose those things and to hold the people accountable who are perpetrating those crimes. And I think all of that together is really lending itself well to this next generation of people. But there's got to be a changing of the old guard. We can't continuously keep fighting against this, because look at how well it's working for kids. You can call them soft or whatever, but like Gen A is coming for us. They are going to do some amazing things.
It like circles right back around to Barbie, doesn't it? Like,
I love it. I love that you watched it finally. I'm so happy. It's just, it's so good. There's so many lessons in it, and so great. Well, you're still sitting on the floor with a baby in her rib cage.
Oh my gosh. It's fine. I'm fine.
So we wanted to put out this fun little holiday treat for you to let you know we're still here. We're far more active on Patreon with this audience. Feel free to join us there. Check out the merch and all of the fun things. But we hope you had a restful, happy holiday and are going into the new year with a great outlook. And we can't wait to come back and join you more frequently.
Yeah.
So thanks everybody for being here for our first year of Survivor's Guide to True Crime. And we will see you in 2024.
Yeah. And who knows? Next time you guys see a podcast recording, I may have a baby.
Baby.
Who knows? We'll see.
Yay. I will not.
We love you guys. We're so glad that you're part of the journey. And thank you, as always, for the support. And we'll see you soon.
Survivor's Guide to True Crime is hosted and executive produced by Kimberly Corbin Rourke and Kara Robinson Chamberlain.
If you love what we do here, please don't forget to follow, rate, and review the show in your podcast player. It's an easy and free way to help us and help more people find the show.
To learn more about the guests featured or to find resources and information discussed on the show, visit survivorsguidetotruecrime.com.
Thanks for listening.
Well, see you later.